Lucky number Slevin movie review. So this is one of those movies I didn't really know anything about before I rented it. Although afterwards I was doing some internet research and apparently this is an American remake of Yojimbo, which stars Bruce Willis. Yojimbo is a classic samurai movie borrowed from Kurosawa. It's actually been remade into American movies a few different times, including another movie with Bruce Willis. I think that one was called Last Man Standing. Bruce Willis is also in this movie, so I don't know, how many times is Bruce Willis going to remake Yojimbo? Anyways, aside from Bruce Willis, it's got a very impressive cast. Morgan Freeman, Ben Kingsley, Lucy Liu, Josh Hartnett, and Bruce Willis. It's got a Guy Ritchie-esque plot with confusing, changing allegiances in the gangster world. And it's got Tarantino-esque dialogue. Unfortunately, it's a real stinker. So let's start with the dialogue. This film wants to be the next Pulp Fiction or to be the next Seinfeld. So at key dramatic points, characters will stop to have mundane discussions or discuss the semantics of words, etc. By now, we've kind of already seen this thing. I mean, we've already seen Seinfeld. We've already seen Pulp Fiction. Besides which, this film, the writers of this film really just can't pull it off. The whole script sounds like it was written by someone who is just trying too hard. Yeah, you know the thing about comedy, if you can kind of hear the desperation of someone desperately trying to be funny, then it's not funny anymore. And this script just sounds like it's trying way too hard to be funny. In fact, you ever have that thing where you're watching a movie and you just kind of feel embarrassed for the actors or you feel embarrassed for the writers? There's a word for that, isn't there? The feeling where you feel a cringe for somebody else. I felt that while I was watching this movie. Part of the blame is not the fault of the writers. It is with, unfortunately, the main actor, Josh Hartnett, who is unfortunately no Jerry Seinfeld and just can't deliver these lines very well. But most of the blame goes to the writers. And evidence for that is all the other actors also sound corny when they're trying to mouth the dialogue. There are a few surprise plot twists in this film, and a few characters who are not what they seem at first. But that's almost kind of to be expected with these movies. That's kind of par for the course. The two rival gangsters in this film are Morgan Freeman as the boss and Ben Kingsley as the rabbi. And then they each have their own kind of factions under them. The Jewish mobster faction under the rabbi are just a cliche collection of Jewish stereotypes, as if to further add more embarrassment to this film. Right? I mentioned that kind of cringe feeling when you're watching it. This just kind of increases that factor. They dress in Hasidic dress. There's a rabbi who quotes scripture all the time and talks about kosher ways to kill people. They have an alert button that they hit that's in the shape of the Star of David. Now, I guess after South Park and after Family Guy, we're kind of living in an age. I mean, at one point, this would have been deeply politically offensive. Politically incorrect, I guess. And arguably it still is. But we are kind of living in an age after South Park and Family Guy where deliberately being politically incorrect is kind of the joke. And thereby, arguably, it's not politically correct anymore because you're making a joke out of being politically incorrect. maybe, but generally, in order for me to kind of give this kind of thing a pass, I like to see that there's a larger satiric point being made. Either there's a larger satiric point being made, or it's one of those movies that's just deliberately pushing everybody's buttons. In this movie, I'm not sure what the larger satiric point being made was, and it seemed like it was targeting the Jewish stereotype a little bit too exclusively. So to me, it wasn't good satire. It was just dumb.